Hey guys, so by the title of my video, you can see that I'm going to be discussing postpartum and specifically my postpartum, not depression, but the baby blues that I experienced. I never really thought that it would happen to me. I've heard other women talk about postpartum depression and about the baby blues. I just never thought that it would be me. My labor was not what I had expected or what I had imagined, and that's a whole separate video in and of itself of what happened and led up to me having a C-section. But for me, I think the beginning of my baby blues was right after I had my C-section, when they brought her in and I held her several hours after my C-section. And I looked at her and I'm like, I'm your mom. I'm somebody's mother now. There's someone in the world that needs me. And, you know, it was just so hard for me to wrap my head around that idea. And I looked at her and I just promised her that I would be, or try to be, the best that I can be for her, because she needed me. She needs me. The next day after my C-section, I couldn't get her to latch on no matter what position I attempted. It was just not working out for me. I called my husband crying. He found us both hysterically crying when he got to the hospital. I always felt like, being in the hospital and even when I got home, that I needed somebody with me, just so that, you know, I can get through the motions of being a mom. I'm so sorry. My husband had to go back to work. He, the USA doesn't offer paternity leave, so he had to go back to work. And I had called in a cousin to come in the next day just so that, I wouldn't be by myself with her. And it was just so hard to, being in the hospital and having a C-section, because they would place her in, a small little crib, and the nurses wouldn't help you. I mean, in my particular hospital, they didn't help me to get up and pick her up when she started crying. I had to do it all by myself. I had to figure out how to maneuver with having, an incision on my body, and find my way to get to her. We get home, we finally are discharged, and my husband had gone off to the gym, and I was with her, and it started to dawn on me that the next day I was going to be by myself with her. And I didn't know what to do. And I didn't want to be by myself with her. So I called my mom, and I couldn't tell her, but she knew. She knew what I was going through or what I was attempting to tell her. And she suggested that we call one of my husband's aunts or relatives and see if they could come in just for the 2 days while she gets, while the weekend gets here, and then she's able to come. So we were able to get one of our relatives to come in, that Thursday and Friday. I wasn't alone with her. I was able to, just go through things and just be with her and have, our relative, I guess, teach me how to be a mom. My mom gets here, and it was just God sent to me, because, she took care of the things that I couldn't do. That was very limited, still kind of am. on the things that I can do. I couldn't bend down. I couldn't pick her up. I couldn't, you know, eat certain foods. And it was new to me. I don't know if you guys ever heard of it, but in the Hispanic culture, there's a thing called los 40 días, or the 40 days. And that's a regimen that every woman kind of follows after their postpartum. And basically, the 40 days is like a regimen of what I consider dieting and being sequestered in your home. You cannot go out for 40 days. You can only eat flour tortillas, cheese, and soup. Now, I felt like being stuck here for 40 days was like a prison. And I did tell that to most people, and even my mother. I was like, I feel like I am a prisoner in my own home with my baby. She would tell me, no, you have to do this, you know, this is for you to get better so that you can, you know, take care of yourself and you can recover from your C-section and blah 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 blah. But in my mind, I just felt like I was a prisoner. My mom was only here for those 2 days, and she had to go back to work before she could actually start her vacation and be here with me and my husband and our baby. So once she left, again, I got that feeling of not being adequate, overwhelmed, and alone. So I just kept telling myself I just have to get through this day, one day at a time, and then your mom will be here. She'll be here to help you out. That week went by so fast. And when she finally got here, she took care of everything. I mean, from the cleaning, the cooking, the night feedings. And I was able to sleep and feel like myself. In that week that she was here, I started to feel like myself again. Without her, I don't know what could have happened. At my follow-up appointment, I did express to my OB that I was feeling depressed, I was feeling down and upset. She asked me if I had any thoughts about, you know, hurting myself or hurting my baby. I told her no, that I didn't have any ideas of hurting myself or her, but that I kind of felt like I was not myself, and I was having a hard time, I guess, you know, trying to compromise my old life and my new life as a mom. So she, instead of making my follow-up appointment for 6 weeks, she decided to make my follow-up for 2 weeks and told me that if I was not feeling any better by then she would prescribe me some antidepressants. Before prescribing me the antidepressant, she did suggest that I speak with a counselor. She provided the business card for me and gave me a follow-up appointment. To be honest, I broke down with her. I even broke down with the nurse when they asked me for a follow-up appointment. It was going to be 6 weeks, and I had to tell her it was going to be for 2. So the nurse spoke with me, calmed me down, and then I just patted my eyes and walked into the waiting room. You know, I was with a friend that day, and walked out as if I had not cried at all. Because, you know, nobody wants to talk about, oh, you know, you have the baby blues and you have, you know, postpartum depression. Nobody really wants to hear that. At least that's what, you know, I thought. So, you know, I couldn't even, you know, explain it to my husband. But he knew that there was something wrong. And, you know, he just kept asking the questions, and I just couldn't respond to him without crying. And he started to worry, and that was the last thing I wanted to do, was for him to worry. You know, worry that, you know, that I would do something to myself or to our child, because we wanted her. You know, we tried to have her. It wasn't like, oops, I'm pregnant. We planned for her. And for me to come out and say, oh, now I have the baby blues, it's like, really? But after having my mom come over and, you know, have her doing all these things for me, I started to feel like myself. She allowed me to go outside. Again, part of the 40-day rules, you can't go out. So for her to, you know, take me out and to be able to be outside and grab fresh air, that felt nice, and I felt amazing. You know, just having her with me for that entire week and a half was a blessing. After she left, I felt more equipped to be able to meet my daughter's needs. Sorry, I have her in my arms right now. To be able to meet her needs. And so I didn't feel like I was inadequate, you know, after she had left. Like, there were a bunch of things that, you know, I was still trying to get used to, still trying to figure things out. And that all comes with time. Even though, you know, now I'm going out and, you know, just, you know, being happy, there are moments where I do cry. Like, there was this one time where she just would not stop crying at all. She just kept crying. I had changed her diaper, I had fed her, I had burped her, and she just kept crying and crying and crying. I just did not know what to do. And I'm just, you know, ashamed to say it, but I like yelled at her, and I was like, would you stop crying? As soon as all of that came out, I apologized, and I was like, I'm so sorry that I yelled at you. This is not your fault. You know, you're just a baby. What do you know? You know, I'm your mom. And I'm supposed to know these things. I'm supposed to be able to take care of you and provide. And the fact that I could not find a way to soothe her just frustrated me. And there have been moments where I've literally cried. I cried while holding her and just not knowing what to do. There's been moments where I've left her in her crib crying and locked myself in the bathroom because I couldn't do it anymore. You know, nobody talks about this side of motherhood. Everybody talks about it, you know, oh, it's so great and joyous. And, you know, there are moments like that, but at the same time, there are moments where, yeah, where you're just not sure what to do. You feel inadequate. You feel like you could possibly be the worst mother on the face of this earth. And I just never thought that the baby blues would hit me. But now, you know, as the days keep passing by, yeah, you know, I'm starting to feel like myself again, and I'm no longer, you know, incessantly crying for no reason or getting upset. I feel like, you know, this topic should be more open and easily discussed, even though we think that it's easily discussed and that everybody should be open about it. Low key, and I'll be truly honest about it, people judge you. People judge you on the most stupidest things in the world, whether you breastfeed, whether you bottle feed. And that was another thing that added to my baby blues, the fact that I could not breastfeed or wasn't producing enough breast milk, and people were just kept incessantly saying, oh, you should try this, you should try that, you're not doing it right. Well, damn, that makes you feel like a horrible mother. So, you know, people just like judging you, and even though you say, oh, what people have to think or what they say doesn't bother me, it kind of does. And that truly, compiled with everything else that had happened, really did add to me having my baby blues. Now, I look at her now and it's just, she's such a blessing. And yeah, I know. And, you know, to think that I had, you know, experienced that and gone through that, it's just, I don't know, like, it's part of motherhood. And it should be more easily talked about and less judged and less stigmatized. At the end of the day, we're all mothers and we all go through this, and no matter how perfect you think you are or how perfect motherhood is, it's not. There's a lot of, you know, trials and tribulations when it comes to it. There's a lot of things that you're not gonna know, and that's all right. That's okay. Nobody comes to this world knowing. You know, I guess at the end of the day, you know, if you're going through this, just know that there is help out there and you can get help, and it will pass. It's not gonna last forever. It will pass. Yeah, I know. And what triggered me to make this video was the fact that I had another friend who recently just gave birth. And her first pregnancy, she had a natural birth, no issues, nothing. Then with her second baby that she just recently gave birth to, she had to get a C-section. And her doctor did not explain anything to her. What was her aftercare supposed to be like? What she needed to do to make herself, you know, feel better, have an easy recovery, etc. And she was just feeling so overwhelmed and she did not know what to do. And she reached out to me because I had reached out to her. And, you know, I just told her, this is what worked for me. This is what your doctor should have told you. This is what I was told. Definitely verify with your own doctor, with your own provider, if, you know, this is what you should be doing. But the fact that, you know, her doctor didn't explain to her what was going on, what was going to happen with her body, what was she supposed to feel, that horrified me. Because, you know, as a provider, that should be, that's your job. You're supposed to let your patients know what's going to happen and answer all of their questions, and not just brush them off just because, you know, they're in nursing school and they may have some idea of what is to come. You know, I'm glad that we had each other to, you know, provide support. I know, hold on. To provide each other with support. Glad that we both reached out to each other and got the support and help that we needed, because I hate to have imagined what would have happened if we hadn't done so. Another point I'm trying to make in this video is that asking for help doesn't mean that you're a bad mom or that you're inadequate or that you're not enough. Because know this, you are enough, and asking for help doesn't make you less of a mom. Overall, I hope this video reaches out to any mother that is going through postpartum depression or the baby blues, and encourages them to ask for help and get the support that she needs. So that's it for today's video. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And until next time, bye.